They thought they found the perfect victim alone, shaking, trapped in the dark. Easy target. Easy night. But the moment they stepped closer, something felt off, because her fear. It wasn't real. It was a setup, and in the next few seconds, the hunters wouldn't just lose control, they'd realize they chose the one person they should have never touched. The moment he lifted the bat, everything changed. The forest was silent as silent. Thick fog wrapped around the trees, turning the night into something eerie and suffocating. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath, as if the world itself didn't want to witness what was about to happen. Damp leaves covered the ground, and every small movement made a faint crunch that echoed louder than it should have. On the ground lay a young woman, her hands trembling, her breath uneven, her eyes wide with fear. Strands of her hair clung to her face, slightly damp from the cold mist in the air. Her chest rose and fell quickly, as if she was trying to control her panic but failing. 4 men stood around her, watching, waiting, enjoying the moment. Their shadows stretched long and distorted through the fog, making them look even more intimidating. One leaned casually against a tree, arms crossed, as if this was just another routine night. Another kicked a small stone toward her, testing, teasing like a predator playing with its prey before the final move. One of them stepped forward, gripping a wooden bat tightly. The wood scraped softly against his palm as he adjusted his grip. He smirked, confident, like he had done this before, like he knew exactly how this would end. "Look at her," he said, his voice low but filled with mockery. "She can't even stand," the others chuckled, their laughter quiet but sharp, cutting through the silence like a warning. To owe them. She was just another helpless victim in the wrong place at the wrong time, just another easy story, just another night. But what they didn't notice was her eyes. Beneath the fear, behind the trembling, there was something else. Something calm, something dangerous, because what they didn't know was that they had just made the biggest mistake of their lives. The girl's name was Elena. And yes, she looked terrified. Her body shook slightly. Her eyes darted from one man to another, searching, measuring, memorizing. Her breathing was fast and uneven, each inhale sharp, each exhale unsteady, exactly what they expected to see, exactly what they wanted to see. But something about her wasn't right, because beneath that fear, her mind was calm, focused, calculating. She wasn't reacting. She was observing the way one man shifted his weight to his left leg, the way another kept glancing behind him, nervous, the one with the bat to confident, to careless. She noted distances, angles, timing. Every detail mattered. Years ago, Elena had gone through something most people couldn't survive: intense training that broke people before it built them again. Long nights without sleep, endless drills, situations designed to push her past fear, past pain, past hesitation. Not just physical strength, but control. Control over her body, control over her thoughts, control over fear itself. She had learned how to read people, predict movements, and most importantly, wait for the perfect moment. And she had waited before. She had walked away from that life, choosing something quieter, something safer. She wanted mornings without tension, nights without danger. A life where she didn't have to look over her shoulder or measure every stranger as a threat. No danger, no fights, no secrets. But tonight, that past had found her again, back in the forest. One of the men grabbed her arm roughly, his grip tight and careless. "Get up," he shouted. For a second, her body still reacted like before, tense, small, defensive. And then everything changed. Elena stopped shaking, her breathing slowed, steady, controlled. Her eyes no longer searched in panic. They locked in, and in one smooth motion she moved. Crack! The sound echoed through the forest, sharp, sudden, and impossible to ignore. The man holding her arm screamed as his wrist twisted at an unnatural angle. His grip vanished instantly as he collapsed to his knees, clutching it in pain. His face pale and shocked. The laughter stopped completely. "What just?" one of them stammered, his voice breaking the silence. But before anyone could process what had happened, Elena stood up. Slowly, deliberately. The fear that once filled her expression was gone, completely calm, completely different. It was like looking at another person. The man with the bat reacted first, anger replacing his confusion. With a frustrated shout, he charged forward, raising the bat high and swinging it down with full force. But Elena was already moving. She stepped aside effortlessly, her motion smooth and controlled. The bat slammed hard into a tree trunk with a dull, heavy thud, the impact vibrating through the wood for a split second. He was exposed. That was all she needed. In the same second she struck back, a precise hit to his ribs, fast and controlled, forcing the air out of his lungs. Before he could react, a second strike to his throat. Not wild, not emotional, perfectly placed. He collapsed instantly, dropping the bat as he gasped for air, unable to even cry out. Now the balance had shifted. Now the fear had changed sides. The remaining two men stepped back slightly, their confidence gone. Their eyes flicked between Alina and their fallen friends, uncertainty creeping in. This isn't normal, one whispered, his voice trembling. But panic pushed them forward. They attacked together, hoping numbers would give them control again. It didn't. Alina moved like she had done this 1,000 times. She read their movements before they even completed them. A block here, a step there, a precise counter at just the right moment. Every move they made was predictable. Every strike was sloppy. Within seconds, one was disarmed and thrown to the ground. The other stumbled back before a final controlled strike dropped him beside the rest. Silence returned to the forest. Heavy, unmoving, but this time it wasn't her silence. It was theirs. Only one man remained. He hadn't moved during the fight, not a single step, while the others rushed in, shouted. Panicked, he stayed exactly where he was, as if he had already seen how it would end. He just watched, calm, careful, different from the others. There was no fear in his eyes, no anger, no shock, only interest. He slowly stepped forward, his boots pressing softly against the damp forest floor. The fork shifted around him as if making way, and for a moment, the silence felt heavier than before. Then he clapped once, the slow, deliberate sound that echoed through the trees. Well, that was impressive, he said, his tone steady, almost amused. Alina didn't respond. Her eyes stayed locked on him, sharp and unblinking. Her posture was still, balanced, ready. She wasn't underestimating him like the others had, because something about him felt off. You're not just some random girl, he continued, tilting his head slightly. I could tell from the start. Still silence. The air between them tightened. Then he smiled just a little, not friendly, not nervous. Confident. You move like someone trained. Highly trained, he added, studying her like she was a puzzle he had already begun to solve. Alina finally spoke. Leave, just one word, cold, sharp, final, a warning. But the man didn't react the way the others had. He didn't step back. He didn't hesitate. Instead, he shook his head slowly. No, he said calmly. This wasn't random. That sentence lingered in the air for the first time. Something shifted inside Alina, not fear, but awareness. This wasn't over. Not yet. The man reached into his pocket. In an instant, Alina's body tensed. Her weight shifted slightly forward, her muscles ready to move again. Every instinct told her to strike first, but she held, watched, measured instead of a weapon. He pulled out a phone. Simple, unexpected. He pressed a button without breaking eye contact. For a second nothing happened, then sirens echoed in the distance, faint at first, then growing louder, cutting through the silence of the forest. Alina's eyes narrowed slightly. Everything clicked into place. The timing, the setup, the way he had just watched. This was planned, she realized. Not a random attack, not a coincidence. A setup. The man's smile widened. Satisfied now? Exactly, he said quietly. Within minutes, flashing lights cut through the fog. Red and blue beams sliced through the darkness, reflecting off the wet leaves and casting long, shifting shadows across the forest floor. The once silent night was now filled with the sound of engines, doors slamming, and hurried footsteps. Police cars surrounded the area. Officers rushed in, shouting commands, their voices sharp and urgent. Hands where we can see them. Step back. Alina slowly raised her hands, not in fear, but in control. Her breathing remained steady, her expression unreadable. Around her, the injured men groaned in pain, some barely able to move. The wooden bat lay abandoned near a tree, forgotten like the confidence they once carried. For a moment, everything felt like it was over, like the story had reached its end. But then something changed. A new sound approached, deeper, smoother, more controlled. More vehicles arrived. Black Sioux versus .no sirens. .no flashing. Lights dot and no markings. Just presence, just power. They rolled in quietly, yet somehow they commanded more attention than all the noise before them. One by one, they came to a stop. The officers noticed immediately. Their voices lowered. Their movements slowed. Some even stepped back. Then the doors opened. Suited agents stepped out calm, composed, purposeful. They didn't rush. They didn't shout. They didn't need to. The air shifted instantly. Authority had arrived. One woman walked forward, her step steady, her posture straight, her gaze sharp enough to silence a room. She didn't look around nervously like the others. She assessed quickly, efficiently. She looked at Alina, then at the men on the ground, then at the man who had made the call. Her expression hardened. Enough, she said. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried. Everyone froze. Even the forest felt still again. She turned slightly toward the officers. Stand down. She's one of ours. Silence. Confusion spread across the officers' faces. Some lowered their weapons. Others exchanged uncertain glances. The man who had been so confident just moments ago, his smile disappeared instantly. What? He muttered, his voice no longer steady. Alina lowered her hand slowly for the first time. She spoke with calm authority. You set this up, she said. Her eyes fixed on him. He didn't answer, because now he understood every detail, every moment. He wasn't in control. He never was. He wasn't testing a victim. He was part of the test. The agents moved in without hesitation, taking control of the scene with quiet efficiency. The injured men were restrained and secured. No resistance, no chaos, just order. And the man who thought he was in charge, he was the first to be taken away. His confidence dashed gone. As everything settled, the tension slowly faded from the air. The flashing lights no longer felt overwhelming. The forest began to breathe again. The woman stepped closer to Alina. You handled it well, she said quietly. Her tone softer now. Alina took a deep breath, her shoulders relaxing for the first time. I was hoping I'd never have to do this again, she admitted. The woman nodded, understanding. Sometimes the past doesn't let go. Alina glanced around the forest one last time. The fog, the trees, the ground where it all began. The fear was gone. The danger was gone. Only silence remained. But this time it felt different, stronger, clearer, because now the truth was undeniable. They didn't choose a victim. They chose the wrong person, and they paid the price. They thought they were in control until the truth proved otherwise. Because sometimes the strongest people don't look dangerous, they look helpless. Until it's too late, and tonight, they didn't just pick the wrong target. They chose their own ending. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories like this.